Yo, what's going on? We're back again with another podcast episode. In today's episode, we got Garrett Campbell. Man, this is going to be a really good podcast just because this guy is a killer. He used to be in sales. I met this guy in one of the community I'm in. I'm really pumped to have you here, man. So tell me more about you. The first time people hearing about you, what do you do? And yeah.
Yeah, dude. First of all, thanks for having me. As far as who I am, what I do, just like 4 months ago, I moved from Illinois to Miami. So I just recently moved here. I've been in sales for the past 3 or so years. Done a couple million in sales. In over the past year or so, I started Better Endeavors, which essentially we train and place sales reps. I place reps, I manage sales teams, but largely what I do is called the closing Bible. So we have some of the most hands-on sales training on the market. We bring you up to speed, and then we place you into killer sales opportunities where you can make on the low end, 10 grand a month, and the high end, some guys make 70 grand a month. And place reps for businesses, but largely what I do is the closing Bible.
That's sick, man. So how are you do how do you get started with this whole thing, man? Because I'm not sure, you're 22, you're 22 and I'm 10 years old. I'm like, shit, this guy is doing something right. And how do you get into the whole sales industry?
Yeah, so funny enough, I was just flipping shoes. That's kind of what I was doing prior to this. And I kind of learned so how it happened was I had someone on my Snapchat that I knew. This is when I was in college. I was going to school for chiropractic of all fucking things. And this dude was like, yo, I got some strawberry coughs. You could probably flip them. And he knew I had a little bit of money. And strawberry cough was it's a Nike shoe. It's an SB Dunk. If you guys are sneakerheads or know what I'm talking about. And it has a strawberry coughing on the side, and it's a weed strain. And it was a really rare shoe. And I don't know anything about shoes. I am not a sneakerhead. And he's like,
yo, resell them.
What? Yeah. So he's like, yo, I got it for $2 grand. You could probably flip them. So I flipped it for $3K and made $1 grand. And I didn't know anything about shoes, but I sold it. I grew a huge Snapchat audience. And then I started flipping shoes Yeezys, Jordan 1s and stuff that. And I kind of learned through flipping shoes, if I talk about it a certain way, if I post it a certain way, I could either sell more pairs of shoes and get people to buy bulk from me, or I could talk up the shoe a little bit and get a better margin. So I didn't even really know it was sales. I was just scrappy and broke in college and trying to make money. And then I listened to this one dude on Instagram Live. I won't say his name, but he runs a sales agency. And he was just on Instagram Live doing a Q&A. And I've been following this guy for a little bit. And I'm I know he makes a lot of money. He runs a sales agency, but I never thought oh my God, one day I'm going to be a sales guy. I was he makes a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money. Let's see what's up. So he was doing a Q&A. There were a couple hundred people on this Instagram Live. I was fuck it. I'll request. And there's 500, 600 people on this live. And I was it's one of those things where it's he's not actually going to pick me. So I'll just hit it.
I'm
laying in bed, lights off, I'm about to go to sleep. And it starts loading. And I was oh shit, I'm not prepared. I run, flick on my light, fix my hair a little bit.
Okay.
And I was all right, I got 600 people watching me. I have no idea what I'm going to say. And I was dude, I love the platform you've built. I love the business you make. You clearly make a lot of money. And I like the way that you operate and how you carry yourself. And I'd love to help you make more money. Are you hiring any sales reps? No experience aside from, shoes. And I sold supplements, but he's dude, if you have the balls to ask for a sales job in front of 500 people, you probably got the balls to take a no on a sales call. So shoot me a DM, we'll hop on an interview.
That's sick.
I got hired the next week, signed contracts and stuff like that. And I was off to the races. After a bit of time, I actually sold for Ty Lopez. So on the back end of that knowledge, I'm just sitting here in my garage. I was selling his $1,500 packages off the back end of that, from those leads. And granted, that ad was like kind of dying off, but it's like everyone knows that ad. So like it still converted. And I was closing people from there, doing like 100 to 200 like cold calls a day, like just everyone that opted in, I was just dialing. And I didn't make a crazy amount of money on that offer, but I learned a ton. Like if you do that many dials a day, like you will get good. And then I just continuously like leveraged that experience for like, to be frank, like an okay to like subpar offer, and it gradually better and better and better offers until I'm here now. So
that's sick, man. So you stuck with sales after just college. You never thought that you're gonna be in sales. It was just like you shot for it. It's just like shoot your shot. And then, well, how old were you when you did this?
I was like, I think I just turned 19, like somewhere around there, like just turned 18, just turned 19, or like was 18, like somewhere around there. It was like the end of my freshman year of college, so I should have been like 19. I've had one too many concussions, so it's a little foggy on the timeline.
Oh, did you play sports?
Yeah, dude, I played like football, basketball, baseball. Like,
you're a triathlete. That's sick, dude.
Yep.
Man, I played basketball and track in high school, and then after that, I was like, after high school, I was just, I'm done with it. It was like, I wanted to go all in this thing. But dude, so you went to college. Did you finish your degree on?
No. I did like a year and a half, and I had like a 3.9, like 4.0, like somewhere around there, because like to get into chiropractic school, like you have to have crazy grades. Like you have to have really good grades.
Yeah.
So I had to have really good grades. I was like a kinesiology / like biology major. And I had this one lecture hall that I was in, and it was like anatomy and physiology too. And I meant like the professor, there's like 300 people in this auditorium, and she mentioned that she used to be a chiropractor. So I was lit because I've wanted to be a chiropractor since like middle school. So I was like, I want to pick her brain. Like I want to know everything about what it was like when she like was a chiropractor. But in the back of my head, I'm like, why the fuck is she teaching? Like I know she made better money as a chiropractor. So after the class is over, I walked down there and I was like, yo, like, I want to be a chiropractor. I'm so happy that you're the one teaching this class, because like, that's exactly what I want to do. Like, what was your experience like? She's like, well, you know, I opened my own practice. I knew everything about how to like, you know, crack a back, everything about being a chiropractor. One thing I didn't know was how to get people to come into my door. And the people that came into my door didn't know how to get them to give me money. So it flopped pretty fast. And I just had to sell the building, and like, now I teach. And I was like, dude, my like reality like blew up. I was like, maybe I was naive, and I was naive hindsight. I was like, you just get the degree, you make like 150, 200 grand a year. That's what happens. So I was like, oh, this shit's like not guaranteed like at all. I could, you know, drop $250,000 because like, dude, chiropractic school is not cheap either. Like,
it's not cheap. Yeah, even like doctors and stuff like that, right? They go like 10 years to just get a residence and stuff like that. It's nuts.
It's three or 4 years of chiropractic school after that. So you're literally like, it's a doctorate. You know, not really a doctor. It's kind of a doctor.
That is nuts, bro.
So I was like $250,000 of debt just for this like 50-50 chance of like making good money. And basically it came down to, if you don't know marketing and sales, you're not making money no matter what you do. So I was like, I immediately, like that day, like my mentality shifted, and I'm like, I don't know if college is for me. And like, to be frank, like business seems to kind of be where the money's at. And like, that day I mentally decided I was dropping out. It took another probably 9 months or so before I actually did it, but grades dropped quite a bit after that day. And I was just like, went straight into like YouTube University, just like every like make money online thing you could imagine.
Yep.
Dude, like Graham Stephan, like, you know, all Bia Hezza, like all these, like I failed 4 or 5 drop shipping stores. Like,
how was that? What was your? So you did try a lot of stuff before you got into sales.
Yeah, like dude, I tried drop shipping. It was like this like oilmaster.net was what it was called. And it was like, you don't have to like pump your oil, like you don't have to change your oil. It's like a machine that like siphons it out. Okay. Like, that's probably a good offer. I paid this dude like $300 to like mentor me, and like he just probably scammed me a little bit. But yeah, I did that. Like it flopped. I had this like dog sweater. It was like a Christmas sweater.
Yeah.
Like dogs. I called it like Santa paws because
Mhm.
like Christmas was coming up, and I got like 2 sales from like TikTok organic. I tested a couple products, but like I'm like, bro, I don't know how to build a website, like actually
It takes,
optimize
yeah.
it, good copywriting, like
Mhm.
add copy, like fulfillment, shipping times, like I didn't know that game. And like
Yeah,
I'm no,
there's so many things that goes into it, right? Like it's not very beginner friendly.
no, contrary to what the YouTubers had me stuck on. But
Yeah.
that was a super tiny phase in my life.
Mm.
And then I was like, I mean, sales, like they either say yes or they say no.
Yeah.
And like I
How did
saw
you
this
stumble
dude,
upon it? Because so you were following that guy on sales on the Instagram, but like how did you like stumble upon like that guy and like noms in sales? Because it seems like it's a pretty short time frame that you got into like sales.
yeah. So believe it or not, my girl, she's in like a direct sales company, or she was, and it still
Okay.
is. And he was like one of the sales trainers. So she's like, hey, like check
Mm.
out Zoom, like he's doing a training. And I was like, I'm scrappy trying to pay for rent, and like this dude's got something, like I'm all ears. And I listened to
Yeah.
him and I was like, I don't really know what the hell he was talking about, but he was passionate. So I was like, all right, like I'll hear
Yeah.
him out. Like it sounds like he's making good money. And like it kind of clicked. Like, man, like everyone in this world has money, and like everyone always buys stuff. And like
Yeah.
if you can just convey and convince people to like
Yeah.
pay, like you're in the middle of like every big transaction, and you can get a
Yeah.
piece of pie of every massive transaction. So I was like,
Mhm.
that makes sense. That sounds a lot fucking easier than drop shipping. So
Yeah, 100%, man. It's just like you don't need to worry about the fulfillment, like creating a website, running an ad, like so much more easier. But of course, there's some intricacies that goes into it too. So I
yeah,
want to ask, like, how did you get good at in your level? Like, how did you get to your level now?
200 cold calls a day for like 4 or 5 months. Like just by default, if you do that many reps, like you will get good. I mean, I've read like every sales book, like there is to read. And it kind of just, again, like I know I skipped over this big path of like evolving into better and better offers. So like
Yeah.
I sold like an SBA loan, like consulting packages to where we would pair like businesses with the right lenders for like SBA loans, like in the peak of COVID.
Hmm.
I sold like a financial consulting offer, Facebook ads to e-commerce brands, email marketing to e-commerce brands, speed optimization to e-commerce brands, like marketing agency offers,
Yeah.
a lot of different e-com consulting coaching programs, like web development. Like I sold just so many freaking offers and just was on sales calls for like 12 hours a day for the past like 2.5, 3 years. Like it's reps, to be frank. And like I kind of remember like when I was making like $3 grand a month, like doing like 12-hour days, like 6 days a week, just like so broke, like and terrible at sales. Like I was not good. I think there's this misconception with sales. Like you have to be crazy talkative and like super extroverted and be able to talk to anyone. Like, dude, I was introverted as hell. And like I still am introverted, not near as much as I was. But
Yeah.
like I was super introverted, and most people like see that as like, oh, I can't get into sales, and like it's the farthest thing from the truth, because your ability to actually like listen and like actually internalize what people are saying and like respond and ask questions is what
Yeah.
makes you good at sales. If you're talking more than they are, like you've already lost.
Hmm.
So what I thought was like my vice, it was actually like my virtue and like what made me good.
Yeah.
So it's partially reps, and like I was looking through everything. Like I read all the books there was to read about sales, and
Yeah.
like I was looking at a couple sales trainings, but they're like 10, 12 grand, and I had like 2 grand in the bank.
Yeah.
And I kind of just looked all over it and couldn't really find any like true solutions.
Hmm.
And to be frank, the offers I was on at that time like sucked. So I just kind of grinded it out.
Yeah.
I just kind of grinded it out until I found a couple solid offers that I like started doing like 20 grand, 25 grand or so a month on like 65% close rates. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
what things really turned
Do you
up.
think like the offer plays a big part, or
Yeah, I think like number one, as far as like specifically how much money you can make, it boils down to a couple things. So if I were starting from scratch, I would not sell anything below $5,000. Like just like, do you want to sell a $1,000 thing on 10% commission and make $100 for every sale, and you have to make 5 sales to like make the same amount of effort as closing a 5K deal on 10% and make $500? It's like kind of a no-brainer. It's like you only have so much time in a day. So if you want to maximize the amount of money you make, sell more expensive shit, make the time of your sales call shorter so you can fit more calls in a day, and then increase your closing rate. That's how you make more money. But as far as like what to look for in an offer, like the company has to be doing numbers. Like if they're not doing 100 grand a month, at least you can't make 10 grand a month if you're on 10% commission. Like it's just basic math. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So they have to be doing like at least 100 grand a month if you're looking to make 10 or more. You have to have a proven offer, like testimonials, like at a good price point, and like good marketing. Like the warmer the lead is on the front end, the higher likelihood you have of closing. So
yeah. Man, you just gave us the sauce right there on how to get good on to get a position on marketing and just in sales in general.
Yeah.
And for people who's listening, if they're really just want to get into sales, but they don't know where to start, where would you point them out?
Yeah. Like, dude, work with me, don't work with me. Like, I'll give you the blueprint for both. So you don't have to give me $1. What you can do is, a couple of different things, and I'll drop everything, because basically like I have this thing called the Remote Closer Accelerator. It's like $47, and like it'll show you exactly how the fuck to do all this stuff. But in a shorter form, I can explain how to do this. So literally, I want you to go into Google, into YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everything, and type in marketing agency. I want to hire a marketing agency, Facebook ads. And what you're doing is like training all these algorithms to think that you want a marketing agency, like you want to hire one. And pretty soon you're going to get flooded with ads on these marketing agencies. I want you to watch this ad to its entirety, click on the ad. You don't have to buy anything or book a call or anything. And then follow all these people that are running these ads. And then soon enough, because most of these marketing agencies run ads to people, they're running ads for their clients, which book calls. So either that marketing agency specifically needs appointment setters or closers, or their clients need appointment setters or closers. So if you do this nonstop for like 3 or 4 days, after a while, you're going to see on their stories, hey, we're hiring SDRs, like we're hiring appointment setters, we're hiring closers, like we need, and then just freaking apply. Like I've had so many people land an offer just through that alone. You can go hard on Facebook.
That is crazy.
You can go hard on Facebook groups, like literally high ticket sales, hiring high ticket sales. Like look up that on Facebook.
Yeah, that's how I got mine. It was in Facebook. Yeah, it was literally, I joined. I think what's funny, I just searched the keyword hiring high tickets closer. That was it. Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of ways to get them. Plenty of ways to get an offer. That's how I would do it. If I were like, as far as what to look for in an offer, your best bet is like at least doing 100 grand a month. That's a huge plus. They have to have like stuff dialed in. The marketing has to be good. They have to have testimonials, because if you're selling an offer that you don't actually have conviction in, you won't be able to sell it. Like if you don't think it gets people good results, I promise you for a fact, you won't be able to sell it, because if you don't have conviction, how the fuck are you going to convince someone to buy it if you don't believe in it? Like you have to believe it because you're the rep. So there's kind of like that. I've noticed there's like a unique bell curve of companies that hire people with less experience. These like 0 to 50K a month type companies kind of seem to hire anyone and everyone. From like 100K to like 600K a month. These guys are like only A players, only absolute killers, with crazy experience, like all this. And then like $1 million a month and like beyond hires anyone and everyone, because these $1 million a month at plus companies, they have tons of sales managers. They have all the sales training you could possibly need in the world. Like all their onboarding is dialed in, and you can make a lot more money because they're already doing numbers, their marketing's dialed in. So like if you can find these companies and like inside the closing Bible, like plug, like we have access to all this stuff. Like I won't name the company, but this company is doing like $7 to like $10 million a month. Setters make anywhere from like $30,000 to $40,000 a month, and
setters. My goodness.
So it's a $9,800 package on 10% commission. So you set an appointment, you make $980. Or I'm sorry, it's 8%. So you make whatever, $800 or something like that.
Yeah.
So set 4 appointments a day, 2 close, you make like $1,600 a day.
Or just setting an appointment. Like you heard it here first, guys. Like you can make a lot of money in sales, and just if you're really just strapped for money, get into it right now. And I kind of want to move forward and transition on what makes a good sales rep.
Good question. Just undeniable like work ethic. Like if you work hard, like you will make money. There are some reps that I know that got the lowest fucking IQ you could possibly imagine, and they make killer money. Like killer money. Like you do not have to be crazy intelligent to make a lot of money. If you work hard, like you'll figure it out. So like work ethic, constantly like a student of the game. Like again, you saw the offers that I've sold. Like
yeah.
Like when I saw the SBA loan offer, dude, I didn't know anything about loans, but like I listened to like 10 hours of podcasts and YouTube videos and Googled some stuff. I'm like, all right, I know enough to sell it, and like I sold it. So if you're just like constantly a student of the game, like always digest new material, like willing to learn anything and everything about the industry, like massive plus. Work ethic, being a student of the game, and like being extremely like self-aware and like studying like your calls, like every time, like on the offer that I had like a 65% close rate on, like first month, I had like a 30% close rate. Every single day I'd review my call recordings. I'm like, all right, like let's listen to a close deal and see what I did that was good. And then I'm going to sit out with like pen and paper and be like, why on this one deal I didn't close that I should have closed, what happened? Like, I forgot about this objection, or like whatever. Yeah. And just like constantly, like almost like if you're a marketer, like split testing. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to start off the call and I'm going to say this instead of this. And every day I would try something new until every single part of the entire sales process was optimized. So like my first month was like 30%. I was like 35%. I was like 35%, 40%, 45%, 50%, 60%, 65%, 65%, 60%. So it's like every single month it got a little bit better because I was always split testing and trying new things until like the whole sales call was so optimized that I could take a fucking sales call with my eyes closed because I just like knew.
So what's your thoughts on scripts?
I like frameworks more than scripts. Like if your script is longer than 2 pages, 2.5 pages, like rip the whole thing up and just start over. I've seen, it's funny, I just did a podcast yesterday and they asked this, like if your script is over 3 pages, fucking rip it up. Like, because like you get way too in your head and too robotic of if they say this, then I say this. And if they say this, then they say this. Like, it's too much for you. And like, you don't
sound. It doesn't sound genuine, huh? Like it doesn't sound genuine at all.
No, like you're better off having like almost like a mental checklist of like, all right, I need to know this, and this before I can actually pitch. Or like, I need to qualify them and make sure they have all these things here so I know we can actually help them as a client. Like kind of having like a mental checklist of what you need before you can move on to like a new stage in the call will help a ton. And then like having frameworks for like how you ask questions and how you get information is like a huge plus. And that's more so what my scripts like look like.
Got you. Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of want to transition out of this for a little bit because we've been talking about sales, but I want to know more about Garrett. Like, dude, like, so outside sales, what are you interested in? Or I know you'd be probably putting in 12 hours a day. I'm not sure if you even have, other stuff that's going on outside sales.
Yeah, that's really it, dude. Like I live in Miami and it's probably one of the flashiest cities in the US, but I'm pretty fucking boring, dude. Like I literally like I work, like I live with my girlfriend, like we hang out, we get
Yeah.
nice dinners, like I go out with friends that like have businesses and do pretty good numbers and like we get
Mhm.
dinner, we smoke cigars, like we work, that's about it.
Okay, that's the life though. I mean, what's your goal? What's the end goal on? Well, I know there's probably no end goal, but like, what's your plans right now? Long term goals right now?
Yeah. Like long term, like so right now, like I've scaled like a lot of businesses like sales teams in general.
Yeah.
Um just through consulting or being even more hands-on or sourcing reps or like whatever.
Mhm.
And I love what I do now, and I'll continue to do what I do now as far as training and placing reps in the best sales opportunities on this planet. I'll continue to do that for a very long time. But there will probably be a day where I'm 60 years old and I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
likely what it's going to evolve into, and probably a lot faster than when I'm 60, is probably just getting, instead of like placing reps in like 100 different companies, it's likely going to be more like, all right, like I'm going to put my eggs in like 2 or 3 baskets. Like I'm going to find 3 at max, like 4 companies that I truly believe in, that like they have a killer service. They just don't have their client acquisition down, and get like 10, 20, 30%, whatever equity in the business and do all their client acquisition. Like I'll be like head of sales and like head of marketing, or probably hire people for marketing shit because that's not my forte. And just dial in all client acquisition and just get equity and just scale the crap out of these businesses.
Yeah.
And then make my money on the exit and obviously get cash flow along the way. Like I think there's like levels to every single thing you do. Like I
Yeah.
know Hormozy talks about like, you go from a personal trainer to like managing a team of personal trainers, and then you
Yeah.
manage the gym, and then you own the gym, then you own a chain of gyms, and
Yeah.
then build gym launch, and then it's like there's like a level behind
Yeah.
everything.
Levels. There's levels to the game, and but it's interesting because this all came from you wanting to be a chiropractor, and now you're in this position where I'm gonna be a killer in sales. I'm just gonna like scale all these businesses. And is there anything in like in part of your mind or your like just in general, like is there anything else, or do you feel like this is the path that you were kind of born to into?
Mm, this is the path, and like I don't think I was born with like the sole intention of like I'm getting into sales. Like I always operated from this place of just wanting to help people,
Yeah.
which is why I wanted to be a chiropractor, because when I was like I got adjusted by a chiropractor since I was like a newborn baby. So like I've always been going to the chiropractor, and like
Yeah.
it was the one place when I was a little kid to where I would see people come in like in pain or not feeling very good, and they'd leave like so relieved, happy, like smile on their
Yeah.
face, thanking the guy, thank you so much for helping me out, like I feel so much better.
Mm,
So like that contrast of like someone comes to me with like a problem and they feel so much better after seeing me and they're actually excited to see me, like it's like nothing against cops, but every time you get pulled over, you're like, son of a bitch, like I do not want to see this guy today. Like
yeah.
I wasn't about to like operate a tow truck to where you're like, fuck this guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was
Because
like,
the mindset of people is like, I hate that guy. Like he just
yeah, and it's
yeah.
like it's partially that, and partially like I want people to look forward to like seeing me and like it having a positive, impact and like positive time
Yeah.
spending with me every single day. I don't want people angry every time they see me. So
Yeah.
I saw that in chiropractic, and it kind of just evolved to like sales, where it's like, all
Yeah.
right, there's this, marketing agency, and they have a really killer service, but they just can't convey that to someone like on the phone. And we tweak a couple things, and they go from making 100 grand a month to 300 grand a month. Like that's dope to me because
Yeah.
I solved the problem. They're happier. Everyone's making more money. So I just generally wanted to help people. And through trying the whole buffet of like entrepreneurship and chiropractic and everything,
Yeah.
I was just trying to find the vehicle in which I could help as many people as possible. And
Yeah.
like, this is kind of the one I stuck on.
Okay. And that's a good, personally for me, like I've been trying to contemplate more about like why do I want to help people? I just want to ask you, like what made you want to, because like sure, like is it more the giving, is it charity wise, or is there some selfish desires in it as well, or what is it?
I like to make money.
Yeah.
I won't deny that. I love making money.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's like, originally it was just like, I don't know. I think something like core in me like switched when
Yeah.
that like professor told me that about her experience being a chiropractor. And I was like, the amount of money that goes into college and the amount of people that spend money on this just to make like close to nothing, like 9 times out of 10, a lot of these professions making like 40, 60 grand a year. And like something's off with the whole entire system, and like something's naturally flawed. Like everyone gets funneled into this weird education system where no one gets a fucking ROI and they're drowning in debt for like 10 years. And it really was like very, very, very odd to me. And then it's like, I have clients that are like 18 years old doing 30, 35 grand a month, just closing deals.
Yeah.
Like something's off. Like, I don't know.
Something's off. Like, is money even real?
Yeah. And I kind of was just like, I don't know, like this world wasn't, I didn't know it existed until I kind of got into it a little bit. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't know this world existed. And it was really, really cool to dive into it and learn about it and then see how I can help people like through this, it's kind of like vessel. And then also like after a certain point to where it's like, okay, cool, you make 10 grand a month, like life gets a lot different when you like can cover basic necessities. And then beyond that, it's kind of just like a love of the game. Like, I think it's cool to like continuously like evolve and get better and better and better at things. So like when people are like, oh, like you could do this or you could do this or we could start this business, I'm like, I just want to do this and get as best as I like physically can. Like, cool, I have offers to where guys are making 70, 80 grand a month. Like, where are the offers where closers are making like a couple million a year? Like, okay, cool. Like my sales training is like good. Like my success rate right now is like 90%. I'm like, how can that get to like 95%? Like, you know what I mean? It's like this constant evolution of like, how can I make everything perfect is like kind of what I'm after.
Man, that's deep. So pretty much it's like the growth you're seeking for, like constantly seeking growth. And it might get a little bit esoteric here, but what do you think is the purpose of life? Like for your own opinion?
I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm no philosopher, but like, I think on this earth, I want to have a net positive effect on as many people as physically possible. So I believe in God or some form of like a higher power. And I know that if you have a net negative influence on this earth, that you will go to a place that is not very exciting. And if you have a net positive experience on most people that live here, you will probably have a more positive experience in this afterlife. So I want to ensure that I go to the happy place.
100%.
So I guess simply put, that's probably what I'm after, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And that's interesting because like if I would look at the sales industry as a whole, a lot of people are pretty degen lifestyle.
Yeah.
And when I look at you're more low key, you know, like why not, you know, try to because you know those things sell, like, you know, like flashy lifestyle, all these things sells. But for you're more low key. What's the decision there?
I don't want to work with fucking douchebag. Like that's my honest answer. Like I think the way I carry myself, or I think the way I believe I carry myself, is to be super genuine and like authentic. And like, I don't care about material things at all. Like I could buy a Rolex, I could have a nice car. Like I have a pretty nice car. Like I could flex these things, and like I could flex a lot more. I think what comes with that is attracting people that are extremely focused on how much they can make and what they can flex, and like their external outcomes of like what they do. And I don't want to work or associate with a lot of those people. I think it's more dope for me to see a client like crush and make a ton of money and get a ton of results than it is to like buy a Rolex. So it's like anytime I see the amount of money in my bank account, I'm like, I could drop 25 grand on a dope watch, or I could drop 10 grand on getting a client success manager to make my success rate go up. So like that's how I view money. Is it's like, do I care about what people think about me based on this cool thing on my wrist? Or like, it's just like, I don't know, like it's like making like having money on like Grand Theft Auto. It's like I could just allocate this to getting better things and being better, or I could just have an external thing. Like I just see like money as like a credit system to grow my business and like improve the game that I'm playing.
No, 100%. And like, I feel like life is a game, man. And money is just like the what you use to pretty much like improve your character kind of thing, right? It is interesting if if you look at it that way. But man, but you're 22 and you have this kind of a perspective, and you know a lot of guys in our age would I want to be more flashy, you know, live that lifestyle, you know, go out party. But for you, it's more. Why do you think what was the shift, or like, did you ever aspire to have those type of lifestyle, or?
It probably came from like how I was raised. Like I was raised very well. Like both my dad grew up in like a trailer. My mom grew up in like farmland that they only could live there because they worked the farmland. Like I grew up in a super, super small, like rural town. And like they made a massive come up from like how they live, which was, you know, not great, like money wise and everything, to like they made a big come up to where they had, you know, we had a nice house, had a nice car, but there was always this level of like financial stress in the household, to where it was like externally keeping up with the Johnsons, like we good. Internally, it was like, fuck, like it's the end of the month, like this needs paid, how are we gonna do it? Like stress in the household. And I was like, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's cool to like look like everything's together and you got the money, you got the thing, but it's like, if internally you're stressed the fuck out to maintain that, like it's not worth it. So like I've always lived so far below my means, and like I'm pretty insane about this, but like I have to keep a 15-to-1 like income to expenses ratio to feel good. So
man, that's some Alex Hormozy type lifestyle. I love it though. I mean, what do you feel like is your purpose right now? I mean, you're in sales and you're building the sales kind of business right now, and what do you feel like is your purpose right now?
I don't know. It's not really something I think about. I'm just like, how do I get better at the game and get to the next level? Like it's, I don't know, like there's still some things that I want to accomplish. It's more like, I think money just generally, it's like a multiplier to your character as a person. I think if you're a shitty person, you make a lot of money, you're going to be a more shitty person. And there's plenty of those people out there. I think if you're a great person and you make a lot of money, you have more access to be a better person. Like Tony Robbins does like millions of meals to people in Africa, and, you know, all types of stuff. So like I see like my parents' mortgage and I'm like, why am I buying a Rolex? Like I could pay for that. Like I could pay that whole thing off. Or it's like, you know, my brother, like I have a little brother, it's like 14 or something, 13, something like that. And I'm like, dude, like I want to make sure he's good. Like I want to make sure he's making more money than everyone in his school. Like as soon as he's ready to start making money. Like my brother wants to start businesses. I'm like, I want to fund that, or, you know, help him put all that together. So like, he's good. So like my girl, like I just put her onto like a high ticket sales gig, and she's like starting to do numbers, which is like the most fulfilling thing in the world. So it's like, it's kind of just about like putting people on in my circle and like making sure like everyone around me is like good. That's part of my purpose right now.
I love that. I mean, man, the thing though is I can't comprehend. It's like you're in your 20s and you have so much more time, right? I'm in my 20s. I'm 20 years old too, but like in your stage, right? Like you have so much more time on your hand, and like what's pushing you to even get to this in this level? Like what's getting you up in the morning?
My calendar being packed. That's a part of it. I don't know. I think like in my family, and like I'm super like ADD. Like I'm
Mm,
whatever. Like I'm diagnosed with ADD. I don't take the fucking medicine though. But I think like in my family, or maybe it's the ADD or it's whatever. I have this crazy like fixation to where I get crazy obsessed with stuff. And like there was a phase in like, a season in my life, as Hermosi calls it, where like that phase was like sports. And then there was a phase of and season of life to where that was fitness and lifting. And then there was a phase where that was partying and being a fucking degenerate. And then it was like business, and that's what it's been. So I think it's just like what I have a total obsession with right now. Just I don't know if it's my personality type or what it is, but that's likely what it is.
Do you feel like that plays a lot of part, like the personality wise in each other people's like just the way they live their life too?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why people, work with the people they do. I think
Yeah.
it's why people hang out with the people they do. Like I think people naturally kind of find their tribe, and like that's who they associate
Yeah.
themselves with. So yeah, I think that's a big portion of things.
And which kind of gets me, and the thing is like, what type of people do you look for, and which type of people do you try to avoid?
Everyone in my circle that I like actually spend time with and talk with on a daily basis, like hang out with, they all are entrepreneurs. Like they all like have their own businesses. They all do
Yeah.
like close to as good of numbers as me, like or better or close to it, whatever. Like that's who I associate myself with, because I'm like, I don't care what you do. You have to be passionate about like something. Like I don't care if you're passionate about fucking hiking, like be the best at hiking and like care about that. Most people like that's not what my friends do, but like
yeah, I know what you mean. The analogy. Yep.
Passionate and like really care about something and like devote a lot of time and the best you can possibly be at that thing. That's what's cool to me, because like that's I feel like I learned a lot from people that like have that in them, because that's kind of what's in me. And a lot of my friends are super humble. They're not crazy flashy. Like I would think how I am is how a lot of my friends are. Like usually do numbers. They're entrepreneurs. They're humble. They're not flashy. They don't talk shit. They don't start shit. Like they just kind of keep to themselves. Like do numbers and like
Yep. Help people out. That's the mission.
Yeah.
And then, avoiding. Who do you avoid? Like type of people do you avoid?
The opposite of that. Like, dude, if you're posting pictures like of your fucking car and your watch and like your Stripe screenshots, but not your client's results, like I don't want to speak to you. Like
I feel that.
I just that's just not me. And like it's the furthest thing from me. And like that's why I have hundreds of people blocked on social media, because like I like to protect my energy. Like I don't like to associate myself with people like that. It's not how I operate. Like nothing wrong with the people that do that, do your thing, go crazy, but it's not what resonates with me, and it's not what I want to be around. Because I think if you're building something worth building, you shouldn't be allocating funds and energy to the things that you are. And I have friends that like, I have one of my friends, Carson, I'll literally plug him on this podcast. He's building a drone company called Cieli. I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of that name, but it's a drone company. He's 19, crazy numbers. And I'm like, dude, like, what do you want to do after this? He's like, nothing. He's like, this is going to go public on the stock market. We're going to be worth like 10, $20 billion. Like I'm going to have, this is going to be a parent company, and we're going to have, partner companies that do this, and this. Like it's all going to be this company. I'm like, that shit's so cool to me.
Man, no, 100%. Dude, like I like that. No, I definitely jive with that thing, because I have friends who more I should probably work on that too. Like that's one of the things where I'm trying to protect my energy, because I don't know if you've had those probably high school friends or like those buddies, and then I don't know how you were able to survive that, or like even your interactions with them? It's very different, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's very draining personally. And like, how did you navigate through that to just get where you're at right now too?
Yeah. I had a good like year and a half of like just pure like isolation. Like I was like when I was doing those like 200 cold calls a day, like I had a roommate like smoking weed on the couch, and like nothing against it, dude, but it's like every time I was like, yo, dude, I just made like $200 a day. He's like, oh, you want to smoke? Like, oh, you want to go out? And I'm like, he's like, dude, you already made a lot of money today. Just like stop and we can go like do something fun. And I'm like, and I like lean into that because that's my environment. So I think once I changed my environment, like got me an apartment, and kind of just cut off like everyone. Like it was just like clean slate. Like I don't know anyone. Like I don't have friends. Like all I do is like business related stuff. I eventually like recultivated my circle of the people who I wanted. Because that's what I spent all my time doing. And then by default, I kind of rebuilt that circle. But like my like rocket ship like season of like not making anything to like making a ton was when I got my own apartment, like cut off everyone and just like went for it. Like that's where it all happened. So I think I'm a huge believer of like, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend time around. Like it sounds corny as hell, but like
it is, but like it's so true.
Yeah.
No, 100%, man. And you know, like I kind of want to ask, like I got a couple more questions here. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're probably
busy. I got time.
All right. If you still got time, I kind of want to dive deep more on a couple of stuff on sales and stuff like that. Like what's your I want to know more about like your daily daily routine look like on how do you improve yourself in a regular basis?
Yeah. Daily routine or just like what I do to improve?
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. Just on how to improve in general.
Yeah. I'm a huge believer of, again, like I fucking love Hormozy. He's like, buy skills until you cannot buy skills anymore. Like, I spent $150,000 on coaching and consulting this year so far. Like that's I'm a huge believer of that. Like it's like, okay, I have this problem. Like I'm not intelligent enough to solve it myself, or I don't have the resources to solve it myself. Like who's the best at it? However much money they charge, I'll pay it. And then I won't have this problem anymore because they're going to solve it for me and show me how to solve it. So like when it arises, I don't have that problem anymore. So it's like, I don't know. It's just how I think. And I think a lot of people are scared to play offense because they don't believe in themselves enough. So I've spent a shit ton of money on consulting and coaching and all types of that stuff. And I'm a huge believer in that. That's how you like money is, again, it's just a tool to get to the next level.
It's just a tool, man. And backtrack a little bit. You were doing sports because you said you have ADD, and how was that? Like, do you feel like that translated in the business, like some of the stuff? Because I played basketball personally, and what was your experience like on that? Yeah,
so like I played like football, basketball, baseball. Like you can't play football until like 5th grade. So like 2nd grade through like 4th, 5th grade, like I was like traveling to like different states. Like I was trying to be the best baseball player I could be. And I did that for a while. And then football started in like small town Illinois. Like everyone's a big football school. So like I was playing football. I was like, all right, like I need to lift. Like I'll do anything I can to be the best football player I could be. So like I was started lifting. I was in like fucking 6th grade or something.
That's nuts, bro.
Yeah, like dude, my dad was like huge into sports, so he's crazy competitive, which is probably where I got a good amount of my work ethic and just like desire to be the best I could physically be. Likely came from him. And I was just like, I'm gonna be the best football player I could be. So I'm gonna lift like crazy, like run like crazy, like study the game, like watch film, like that's what I'm gonna do. And
so you wanted to go to probably wanted to go pro.
Not really.
And that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't really want to go like pro because like I was pretty good at baseball. Like we went to state in football, but like I don't know. Like when it hit like senior year or whatever, I was like, I've been so adamant on sports so nonstop that it's like I had a level of like burnout with it. And I was like, if I don't see myself being the absolute best in this, I don't want to do it anymore. And I was like, I don't want to go to the MLB. I don't want to go to the NFL. So I was like, there has to be the next thing. And that became partying because like college. But yeah, like I could have pitched and like played baseball at a couple different colleges, but they were all smaller colleges. And like, I kind of just valued like education more than like the sports. Like I'll just go to a better college.
Okay. No, but it ended up just being partying too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't I decided I decided to opt out on college. I did running start and all that stuff, but it's just stumble upon like marketing and business pretty early on. But I don't know, did you ever had friction between your parents, you not continuing?
Yeah, dude, this is actually a pretty good story. I don't know why I never tell this. But yeah, my mom's a teacher. Like she teaches like kindergarten, I think. Kindergarten, first grade, like is what she's taught for the past like since she got out of college. So she's been in school systems her entire life. So when I again had that conversation with like the chiropractor lady or like the professor, I talked to my parents. I'm like, hey, like, I don't know about this stuff. Like I was just kind of unsure. So like I switched majors and I was like, all right, like I don't even know what I was going to be. Some accountant type thing. I was like, that would have been terrible. But I was like, all right, I need to be a finance major. And then I switched to like a couple of different things before I just dropped out. But I was like, all right. And they're like, no, don't drop out. You could just be like a finance, like business major. I'm like, okay. So I did that for a bit and I was just crazy unhappy. Like I just super depressed, super anxious. Like I hated college with a passion. Like it was just not for me. And yeah, I just hit a point where I was like, I'm dropping out. Like, and I paid for like all my college and like I had a ton of scholarships. So I got, again, like pretty decent grades. Okay. My parents probably put like $2,000 or whatever towards my college. And like when I went to tell them like, hey, I'm dropping out, that's what I'm doing. They're like, no, you're not. Cause like we put money towards your school. I was like, okay. And I'm like, you know what? Like maybe this like the objection handling in me. I was like, all right, if I pay them back, then I can drop out. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll just do that then. So dude, I remember like distinctly looking at my bank account and it was like $2,100 is what I calculated like every single dollar they put towards my college. It's like $2,100. I look at my bank account. There's $1,972 in my bank account.
Yours, I remember that.
I was like, bet I'm gonna DoorDash for like 2 or 3 days. I got like $2,200 in the account. Withdrew $2,100. I drove 2 hours home from college. I hand them the cash and I was like, all right, I'm dropping out. And they're like, Garrett, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, yeah, I know. And they're like, well, like good luck. Like they didn't support me. I mean, they're like help minor little things here and there, but they're like good luck. Like you're gonna have to get an apartment. Like you're not staying here. So like you're gonna have to like figure it out. Like you have to do something. You have to make money somehow. I was like, bet. Like I'll figure it out. And that
is crazy. So how long was that? Like from you know, now that you've dropped out, and then that's just crazy. So you just were by yourself after you dropped out.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, like pressure makes diamonds. I was kind of like, and I had like a $500 a month like rent or something like that. Then and my rent was doing like 4 days, so I was like, I got to come up with $400, and I like Gary V style, like I got a bunch of like shoes, like used shoes and stuff that no one wanted for like.
Oh, that's when you started flipping
on Facebook Marketplace, and then flip those, and then. My friend caught wind of what I was doing with like super cheap shoes. Like I'd buy like a $20 pair of shoes and sell for like 60. Like I wasn't making crazy money, but like I was covering rent and like, you know, I was surviving. And then I started getting into like more high ticket, like expensive shoes. So like, all right, now I make $400-$500 per pair. Like this is the move. So yeah, that's kind of how I did to like stay afloat.
So how long were you in that stage of like staying afloat until you're okay, now I can. Cause bro, like the pressure, you probably felt it, huh? Like the month to month, I gotta pay this or I'm gonna be homeless.
Dude, I just told my girl like yesterday. Like I remember a couple months into like the flipping, and like when I had those strawberry coughs, I posted on my Snapchat. I was like, yo, if you guys connect me with the buyer and like repost this and you connect me with the buyer, I'll give you $100. So I went from like no sneakerheads on my Snapchat, no audience, to like 2,000 sneakerheads that flip shoes and stuff. So I grew an audience crazy fast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
that's marketing right there, man.
Yeah, for real. I was just like, hopefully it works, because like I have all of my money in this one pair of shoes. So they got to sell like fast, because like I got shit to pay for. I've taken a lot of risks, and I went to zero so many times, like money wise. But yeah, I did that for a while, and then I like finally got to a point where I had like $4,000 or something. And then whatever, I had like $2,000 in my bank account, and I bought these pair of shoes that were like $2,000. They were Chicago Off-White Jordan 1s. They were like $2,000 or $3,000 or I don't know. Whatever price it was the amount of money I had in my bank account. But I was going to make like $1,500 or $2,000 or something on this flip. So I was like, bet. Like my rent was like $500 a month. So like, this is 4 months rent. Like, this is it. Like I'll make 4 months rent. Like I'll have a little bit of breathing room. And I FaceTimed the dude who was selling them. I was like, this guy's legit. And like, keep in mind, like I was meeting people at like police stations, because it's like 2,000, 3,000 cash. And it's like shoes. Like, it looks like a fucking drug deal. I'm like, you don't want to get fucked over. There's a lot of fake shoes, and like that industry's weird. And FaceTime, I'm like, this guy's legit. There's like a check app where you can verify the shoes are real. He sent me the check verification that they're real. So I was like, bet. I drove like 2 hours to go meet this guy at a police station.
That's crazy.
I bought them, like cashed out of the ATM, like every dollar I had. I had a buyer lined up for like whatever, 1,500 more of whatever the shoe was. I post them on my Snapchat story again, like I'm not a sneakerhead. I don't know this world very well. I'm just making money, and just get so many swipe ups. Bro, those are fake as fuck. What are you doing? Like, why are you trying to scam people? And I'm like, they're tripping. Like, I have like the check verification. And this dude that I was going to sell them to, I sent him to him. He's like, bro, those are fake. And I'm like, no, they're not. He's like, verify them yourself. I was like, fine, I'll do it. I verify them. It's like failed verification test, not real. And I'm like, yo, holy shit. Like, what?
You're in zero right now, and you have the shoes that's fake.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh my God. I called the guy. It was like, this number does not exist, like blocked. So I like try to hit him up on Snapchat. This user does not exist. I'm like, dude, I called the police station. I'm like, yo, can you guys do anything? And they're like, no, don't buy fake shoes. And I was like,
oh no.
So I tried to do everything. And I was like, bro, I'll fight this kid. Like, I gotta do something. Like, this is crazy.
You're in zero now, but you have to pay rent.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like, it's on me. Like, I got it figured out. So yeah, like I literally remember going home. This is the most vulnerable moment of my life. I cried my fucking eyes out, and I was like, yeah, what am I doing? Like, and I've been burned and scammed a couple times now in the shoe game, because it's just like, there's a lot of plugs that like also sell shoes. It's a funky space to be in. Especially being a fucking small town white kid that don't know anything about city life and shoes. And yeah, like after that, I got out of the shoe game. And I think I got into sales. I DoorDashed, fucking stayed afloat, whatever. I traded stocks a little bit here and there, made some money. So yeah,
you came a long way. How did dude? Because at one point, did you ever even had a thought to like, okay, I think I'm not cut up for this. Like, I'm gonna have to quit, or you never had a single doubt of that?
No.
You just say, I have to make this work or I'll die.
It was, part of me was like, my parents are waiting on me to fail so that I'll go back to college. Okay. And I was a stubborn little 19-year-old kid. I was like, nah, like I can't do that. And like literally, like I remember, nothing against my parents, love my family. My mom was like, I have a little brother. She's like, see, Jake, like this is like setting an example for him. She's like, this is why you stay in college, because now Garrett's trying to stay afloat doing whatever. And like, now he's about to get this little sales job and it's all commission. It's super risky. He's not going to make any money because it's risky. Yeah. And I'm like talking to my brother now. I'm like, yo, Jake, do you want to get into sales?
He's like, yeah, put me on.
Yeah. So it was kind of like proving them wrong was a big portion as to why I'm like, I will figure it out.
Yeah. It 100%. I do have that somewhat similar thing currently. I'm on your position where you were at couple, I don't know, like a year or two now, but
Yeah.
it's interesting how like life of cycle comes and go, and then yeah, it's interesting. It's that's why it's so fun though. Like that's why like life is fun. Like you never know when's the next move, and then what you're gonna say. Oh, I'm gonna do this, but there's another thing that's gonna happen. It's like, oh, actually, it's better. So it's just small things that happens, man. Okay, I got a couple more for you, man.
For sure.
So do you look up to anyone, or who has inspired you the most?
I look up to Hermosi a lot. I like the way he carries himself. I like how he operates. I like how he moves. I just like. Everyone likes Hermosi, but
everybody likes Hermosi, bro.
I love the way he carries himself. I love the way he goes about his relationship, business, like everything. Like I see a lot of me in him, and I know I'm gonna get to that level and even surpass that level. So like I don't know. I like him a lot. Yeah, I look up to, I mean, a lot of people. Like again, like anyone that's super fixated on their thing, I study and I look up to. Like, dude, like the Nelk boy, like the Kyle dude. I'm like, you can see videos from him like 4 years ago. Like you guys don't see what I see, and like you guys don't understand like what I'm about to build. You look at it now and it's crazy. So it's like I study everyone that's like genuinely interested in building their thing. So I kind of study anyone and everyone, whether it's an athlete, whether it's a freaking influencer like Mr. Beast, like whether it's
Mr. Beast is nuts too. Yeah, the way he built his thing. Technically, he's broke, but like he just always invests his profits to like the next video. It's insane. Like a normal human being's like, what are you doing? Like that's so risky, right? And what do you think? What happened? Like what's the kind of like the cut between like the majority and the people who's like is so comfortable in taking this so much risk?
Yeah, I think there's a fork in the road with every decision you make. And this could be as simple as, should I order pizza or should I like make a healthy meal? Should I should I spend this time on a Saturday making a podcast so I can chop this up and go reels, YouTube, shorts, TikTok, or do I go get drunk on a boat? And it's like, you have these like fork in the road decisions that you make like hundreds and hundreds of times a day. And like people don't understand, like if you seek short-term pleasure, you get long-term pain. And if you seek short-term pain, you get long-term pleasure. So the more you lean into short-term pleasure, you're either growing or dying. There's no flat line. Like you either grow or you die. So every time you make this like short-term pleasure decision, you go down a little bit. And it doesn't seem like, I'm just ordering pizza. And then 3 months later, you're fat as fuck. So it's like, it's just making the short-term pain decision, which like, this isn't pain. I fucking love doing podcasts. But it's like the short-term pain for long-term pleasure. The more decisions you make like that, the more you grow and like go up.
100%, man. That's deep. And I got two more. Family-wise, when are you planning getting married, bro?
I don't know. Probably late 20s, like mid-late 20s. Maybe something like that.
Kid-wise,
like when? Probably like 30 or something. Like, I don't know. Like I work so much right now.
Yeah.
If I had a kid right now, like I would be a terrible father. Like, I mean, I would be a good father, but like I couldn't work like I work now. And like, I don't want anything getting in the way of like what I'm building.
Yeah.
But like, I want to get to a point where I have like, I don't know, like maybe I'm psychotic. I want at least 20 million like liquid in the bank. Like I want to get to a point where I'm a lot more removed from the companies and businesses that I operate. Mm-hmm. I want to get to a point where I can be an extremely present father. So whenever that age is, whenever I have the money, whenever I have a house, wife, like all that's very well situated and put together, and I can allocate again, like I'm probably going to be as obsessive as I am business wise as I am as like a father. So like
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
my
100%.
time, money, energy will be allocated to being the best father I can physically be. So like,
Did you get mentorship on that as well?
no, probably not. Well, maybe. Who knows?
That's the interesting thing, right? Like everybody would like, okay, the mentorship X, Y, and Z. Would you do that? It's like very intimate part as well. So,
Yeah.
man, okay. Last thing, what do you want to be remembered after it's all said and done? When I say GC, Garrett Campbell, like he's like, what do you want to be remembered for?
Um, I don't know. Just like again, like having a net positive impact on everyone I work with. Like it's so cool to me to see my like clients do like quantum leaps. Like I like Derek Storm, for example, like one of my clients just texted me today. This dude spent his last dollar to work with me, like literally $100 in the bank, like I was with my fucking shoes I was buying. And this dude just did $24,000 in a month. And he's like, yo, should I drop this opportunity so I can do 100K a month to this other offer you have? I'm like, yeah, like I'm like that's so cool and so fulfilling to me that like I just want to be known for like being a part of that growth in a business or a person's like life so that my funeral is packed out when the day comes.
100%, man. I mean, that's just, and the end of the day, it's like all of us is gonna help each other. That's how we grow, make, leave the place somewhat better than we were here when we started. So yeah, man, I mean, that's it for this podcast. I appreciate your time. If they want to follow you or anything, any plugs, and you've been closing Bible, I'm kind of interested in it, man.
Yeah, bro. I'm quite the salesman, huh? But jokes aside, my Instagram is Garrett Campbell _ As of this morning, it got suspended, but I'll probably be back up in no time. I got a team working on it. So follow me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok is all just like Garrett Campbell. Look me up, you'll find me. Follow me on all those platforms. If you're completely just brand new to sales and you're intrigued, the remote closer accelerator is probably your best route to go. We'll like drop a link below. It's garrettcampbell.com / like RCA. It's $47. Okay. There's like 5 to 6 hours of like crazy sales training. Like I should probably charge like $1,500, but I'd rather you have a first date with me to where you can actually trust me until I know my shit. So don't spend a couple grand with me, like spend 47 with me. And like, I want you to trust me first. So by that, if you're intrigued, like the main focus of it is for you to land your first sales gig. Well, that's an appointment setter role or like a closing role. Like you can land one if you actually do what I told you to do for $47 there. If you're beyond that point and you want access to some of the most hands-on sales training you could possibly find, the biggest problem I see with the sales training industry is you get thrown a ton of videos and you get thrown in a community with thousands of people to where you get trained by the guy. Like you don't get trained by the guy that actually has done the thing. You get outsourced to some sales trainer, and that's not how I roll. So I only work with 20 active clients at a time. So you actually get trained by me, the guy who's done the thing. In a super tight knit like space, because I've managed multiple sales teams. I've onboarded multiple sales guys. That's how they learn. That's how I learn. That, and then once you're brought up to a certain point to where you feel like you know your shit and you're ready to get on one of the best sales opportunities in the world, I have tons of partnerships with 8 and even 9-figure businesses that love to hire people like yourself. So if you want to book a call, maybe there's a link there.
Yeah, I got you. I'll plug it in over there, the podcast description, if you guys are interested in getting into this whole thing for sales industry. If you just want to make some money, it's gonna be in the link in bio. So, but yeah, that's it for today's podcast episode. I appreciate your time, GC. As always, be a creator, not a consumer. Make something today that will inspire others. Thank you.
See you, man.